You got issues in your tissues. You got a crook in your neck, a feeling in your belly, maybe wondering why am I looping in these negative emotions? Well, perhaps you're wondering what energy blocks and the body's fascia system have to do with these things. Guess what? Tonight on the Trisbrina Show, we're going to unpack that for you. Hello, welcome. It is that time of the week. We are having date night with you. How y'all doing? We are grateful to be live because we haven't been live in forever. It's been like,
12 hours.
12 hours. It's been an amazing week. We've had such incredible connections with all of you. We see you guys coming in here. Welcome. Thank you for not being fed up with us because we've been teaching our 5-day energy detox and reboot event, and we've been having all these incredible connections with you. And a couple of questions came up along the journey of the 5 days that had to do with emotions that are showing up or feeling stuck, not having the willpower to actually move forward in life. And we teach a lot around energy work and about using the body and working through the body that we thought tonight's episode would be really awesome to talk about issues that get trapped in the tissues and what we can do about it. So that's where we're heading. For those of you who are wondering about this energy event and what we were doing, we were teaching for free, and then we're converting that whole 5 days, actually 6 days, into a paid program worth $297, and the editor is almost done with that, so that should be available next week. But we have some really great news. If you'd like to get it for absolutely free, if you don't already have a copy of it and you went through the event or you just...
Well, nobody can have a copy of it. It's not available yet.
But if you'd like to have a copy and you've seen the content, you know how awesome it was, then we've got a gift for you. We're going to include it for free when you join us in our Life Force School. And here's how you can get enrolled.
And that's whether you join us for just 1 month or whether you say, hey, I'm here for at least 12 months and there's tons of other bonuses. But no questions asked. Yours to keep forever, all 6 days of the Energy Detox and Reboot event, January 2023. That's probably at least 7 hours of training. So super good deal. And then in the dojo, we meet with you 3 times a week live. You can join us through Facebook or YouTube. The 3 classes that you have to choose from, or you can do them all if you want, is Flowing Qigong, Fitness Fusion, where we use light weights and bands mixed with Qigong and other coordination type movements, a little bit of salsa dancing, a little bit of punching and kicking. And then the 3rd class each week is the Energy Trifecta, where we move and we meditate and we get our mindset straight.
There you go. Seeing some of you were really enjoying the event. We had about 13,000 people registered for the event. People are still going through the trainings. Mm-hmm. It's been amazing to see how many people are so curious and interested in energy work today more than ever before. We teach an art known as Qigong. It's a some say 6,000-year-old art. It's a moving meditation.
Doesn't look a day over 100.
That's right. One of the things that's so incredible, and did you happen to bring that prevention magazine up
No,
there?
but I can get it.
I don't know if you want to walk all the way downstairs.
Oh, all the way? I'll get some more steps in. I'll be right back.
Well, we're going to talk to you today about fascia and what's so interesting about this tissue, this connective tissue that runs throughout your whole body. If you're new to the fascia conversation, you won't be new to it for long because it's becoming quite a mainstream topic. Sabrina's grabbing a magazine that her mom, Rita, has subscribed to for many, many years. And she showed it to us today and said, all that stuff you're talking about, all the fascia and the channels, and I mean, it's right here. I'm like, yeah, it's really becoming so prevalent that people are discovering how important it is to study this tissue. So in a nutshell, it's sort of like spandex that lies right beneath your skin. It's connective tissue. It's around all of your muscles. It runs through your muscles. It supports your organs. It protects them. It holds you in place. It's around your bones, around your heart, around basically every part of you. And fascia, it's gelatinous-like material that has different properties. It's a bit of a shapeshifter. It can carry mechanical energy through it, electricity, energetics flow through it. It's really fascinating to study it. And the one thing that's very curious about fascia is over time, it can get dehydrated and it can get clumpy and adhesions. And so this is a problem in our body, and we're going to talk about that today. So this little booklet, maybe some of you subscribe to this. It's called Prevention Magazine. Do you remember that magazine when you're walking out at the checkout and it's got all those hooky headlines on it and it pulls your attention? So I'll flip the screen and Sabrina will hold it up in just a sec so you guys can see what we just stumbled upon today. Here we go. Let's pull it back just a little so it can be in focus. So
Meet your fascia.
And it's got a rubber band man, because when your fascia is healthy, you have pep in your step and your tissue has more elasticity and resilience in it. But one of the amazing things about fascial tissue is that your energy channels and your life force flows through it. So when your fascia is hydrated and when the channels, let's just flip this back because that's a little bit weird. I'm not used to being on this side. When the fascia is healthy and open, you can actually feel more of your energy, your life force energy flowing through your body.
Have you ever had a rubber band that maybe it was a little bit older and then you go to stretch it and it almost seems like it's rotting and it's weak and it's too stretched out, that if you actually stretch it, it's going to break? That's why I love that man was depicted as like a rubber band man. Or have you ever had a rubber band where you're trying to get it to do its purpose, like stretch to go around something, but it doesn't have any elasticity at all? And I think both of those are such good ways to think about the fascia. The fascia should be flexible and yet comfortingly tight, right? It should feel good. So it loves water so that it stays flexible.
Like I said, drink the water.
But it needs movement so that it stays really pliable. And you can think that your body is just full of all of these rubber bands, that sometimes certain ones might get too stretched out, too tight. But overall, you could almost think of it like one big organ. And what can we do to keep all of the fascia tissue as healthy as possible? It's not going to be one thing. Right? It's not, if somebody tells you, oh, just drink a lot of water and your fascia will be healthy. No. Just stretch a lot. No. It actually takes a combination of movements because the fascia is carrying our energy.
That's right. You're so on point. And if you are moving and squeezing and twisting your tissue and lengthening it while you're also hydrating your body, then that fascia can drink that water. It can get back in the tissue and it can become more viscous and more pliable and more stretchy. And you really want that. That's the feeling of youthfulness in your body. When you feel like, oh, achy and stiff and tight. And as you said, it's like I don't know if you said it was a nervous system, but you said it carried information. It's considered the largest organ now in your body. It used to be the skin, but now fascia has been deemed as an organ. And it has, I think it's 250 million, I believe. It could be trillion. I have to double check this, guys. It's a lot of nerve endings and more than your brain. And so your tissue, your body is so incredibly well organized to carry information, providing that tissue is healthy. So in Qigong, which is sort of where I was going earlier, this art that's 6,000 years old, knew about this. They didn't call it fascia. They talked about it as muscles and tendons. And there is a lot of training in the Shaolin Temple by a beautiful priest. His name was Bodhidharma Dalmo. He came from India to China, and he taught the lazy monks at the temple who were unhealthy and trying to reach enlightenment how to move their body and work on
the
their
Buddha belly.
The Buddha bellies and the low energy and weak. And they were so focused on trying to leave the body and get to nirvana. He's like, you're missing a huge part of this. Your body's a temple. You need to love it as such. So he taught these muscle tendon changing exercises as well as internal exercises for your bones, your bone marrow specifically. And this was like 1400 years ago when he was teaching the monks. So this art that had been passed down for thousands of years knew about the importance of opening up the tissue of the body. So there's certain stretches. You could look at some of the old scrolls and the old pictures. This is interesting to see how they were lengthening and squeezing their bodies, because they knew that if they did that, they could open the energy gates and channels, and then the energy could rise better, and they could attain more enlightened experiences. So we know that not everybody's going for that, perhaps, at least in the beginning, but they are trying to deal with pain in their body. So let's talk about this pain. Pain is a very interesting thing because it's your brain and your body having a conversation. And a lot of people say that pain lives in the brain. Well, the brain is sending messages to your body, and your body is sending messages back to your brain. And it's doing that through something known as proprioception. And your fascial tissue is that proprioceptor. It's carrying that information back and forth. It's carrying information amongst your organs. It's helping you know where you are in space, gives you spatial awareness.
That's why it looks so stringy. It's
Yeah.
like carrying the information.
When you look at fascial tissue, and you can have a little gander here at this, it's pretty cool. It looks like that,
Yeah.
right? And so it's got blood vessels inside of it.
Yep.
It's very viscous, as we said earlier.
So I doubt Tristan can relate to this analogy, ladies on the live. But have you ever had like a pair of leggings or lycra shorts or anything elastic, tights, and maybe they were a special occasion, so you didn't wear them that often, but they stayed in your drawer. And then a few years have passed and you're like, I'm gonna wear those. And you take them out of the drawer and you open them up to step into them. And when you open them, you sort of hear, and there's like this cracking or Velcro sound, or I just kind of call it dry rot. And you look and you can see all these little pieces of white elastic sticking out of the shorts everywhere. And they're not going back in. You just opened them up and now they're out there. And they have lost the ability to stretch and rebound because of what? Age, lack of movement, right?
Time, yeah.
Time. And you just throw them away. And seeing those little pieces of white that you never see that elastic when the clothes are healthy, right? It just looks like, oh, it's spandex. But when it gets old and it kind of starts to rot and stretch, please tell me some of you have experienced that.
That's a great example of what happens to tissues that you don't use. Use it or lose it is a saying that comes to mind. If you're not strengthening and working with that tissue and keeping it hydrated, it will become weak. It will dry up. It will crack, like what you're saying, and it'll lose its elasticity. And it'll lose its ability to protect you. So your tissue, if you do what we're talking about, you feel so mobile. Your joints feel healthy because the tissue isn't super tight. When restrictions happen in tissue, fascia in particular, it shortens. And so it shortens, it compresses on the muscles, it pulls the muscles, which pull the tendons, which pull the bones, and they create more bone-to-bone type situation. They're compression in the capsules, and you just feel like you're shrinking, right? And like you're compressed. And so you want things to be open and to breathe for the tissue, for the joints, but also for the energy channels.
Thank you, all of you in the chat. They're just like, totally. My biking shorts, yep, pantyhose, leotards.
Okay, that was a really good analogy because I've had that with other like martial art equipment that has straps where you tie things with Velcro, and if you actually don't use it and keep it stuck in your bag for a long time and it does that. It cracks and frays and it breaks, and then it won't go back to its original
that first
shape.
time you stretch it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, crap, that's not going back.
This is gone. It's wasted now, Well, your body, you don't want to waste your body. So that's the good thing. I think some people have this false idea that if I don't move a lot, it'll heal faster. Or if I don't move, I won't wear out my tissue. But you see, your body is producing new cells all the time. And your body, if you're moving it and using it, it's generating energy. And it's generating that energy to feed the body and the bones, because that's where your stem cells come from. It feeds energy into the body so it can produce new cells, so it can lay down new cells. That's how you maintain your youthfulness, right? So it's really important. But we open this conversation about issues in the tissue. So you have issues on a physical level, but you also have mental, emotional stuff. We all do. I'm not saying you have issues.
Let's say an issue on a physical level is maybe frozen shoulder.
And on a mental level, it could be a habit that you're looping in or an addiction. And on an emotional level, it could be a feeling of sadness, of hurt, of anger. And it's, why is it still there? So I think a lot of people think the mind is in their brain, right? Most of us think we think thoughts from here. But your mind is consciousness. Your brain is here, brain tissue, brain structure, but your mind is in every part of you. Your mind is in your body. Your mind gets into your cells, cellular memory. Your mind gets in your tissues, in your fascia. Your mind goes into your organs. Your mind is information. It's thought.
It almost is its own entity.
And it's translated through the entire organism. So you can't just try to think yourself out of a problem. You want to move yourself through it and use your body as this beautiful instrument to free your fascia and free your energy flow. Now, in the energy psychology conversation, their belief is that the energy, when it's disrupted, is the root cause of negative emotion. They say the root cause of negative emotion is a disruption in your energy flow or your energy system. So what causes that disruption? Well, think about it. Let's say that you're having worrisome, stressful thoughts, or you're just under the gun most of the day. Maybe you have a job that's really stressful. You're in a relationship that just makes you feel stressed. That mental stress goes into your body and it creates tension.
Especially if you're particular personality type where you're like, I can't think about that right now. So we have to do something with that energy that might be stressing us, might be irritating us, might not be appropriate to express it to the person that's causing it. Yeah, so when you push it down and suppress it, where do you think it's going? In your shoe? No, it's going in the body.
Your body has a subconscious mind. The subconscious mind's not just here. The subconscious mind is in your body. So you're pushing it down and you're pushing that information into your tissue and your tissue gets tight. That's where tension comes from. When you feel someone, you massage them here and go, ooh, you're tight. I mean, no, I've been so stressed lately. Right? This thing's been going on. It's because we're pushing it somewhere. We push it into our stomach, causes digestive issues,
throat,
irritable bowel. We push it in our brain, migraine headaches, brain fog, like stress turns into tension and it turns into issues in the organ systems. When someone's holding on to anger, if you study the emotional systems or Louise Hay's work or some of the Chinese philosophies around emotions, they go into the organs, right? And so that's where the issues get trapped in the tissues.
Even acupuncture and acupressure, when you look at the chart, it'll say, your stomach is in the heel of your foot.
Yeah. And in addition to that, when you work on your muscles and your fascia, like let's say you've had myofascial release, I promise you this, you start talking to therapists, I mean like massage therapists and body workers and physical therapists and tissue therapists and soma therapists, and ask them, have you ever seen one of your clients have an emotional release when you were working on them? They're all going to raise their hand. If you're here, let us know in the chat. Why? Because they were releasing issues from the tissues. Memories, emotions get embedded in the body. So if you're wondering why you're stuck in looping in these old negative emotions, it's because not only the tension and the issue in the tissue, it's pinching off the energy flow. It's causing a blockage. It's causing a disruption. It's causing stagnation. And energy is information. And that information is translated into emotion. So your emotions are how you're reading your energy flow. So when your energy is not flowing well, your emotions feel bleh. They feel bad. When your energy is flowing well, ta-da! Your emotions feel good, right?
Yeah. Why is it that just like everyone knows when something is bothering you? It's like, oh, go walk it off.
Yeah.
Walk it off,
Shake
champ.
it off.
Shake it off. Why does that help? Why is it that if you are so worried about something and you're feeling these looping emotions, I'll just say me. How about when I'm worried about something and looping, what if when I go in and move?
Yeah. How about that? That's a phenomenon.
I mean, of course we get the changes in hormones and the chemicals dumping in the brain, but I I feel like a completely different person. Almost like a superhero that walks into the phone booth and comes out with a cape. That's how I feel after I do work that stretches, moves, tones, and even stresses in a positive way the fascia. Like tugging on it, I feel like the person before, what was the irritable one, goes in the phone booth, comes out superwoman, comes out seeing the world in a whole different way.
There was a boy at the gym 2 days ago, and he was on one of those rowing machines, and he was a teenager, and he looked pissed, and he was just like, and he was making all these noises, and I realized he was releasing pent-up emotions using his body, and I thought, good on him.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't take it out on his sister or friend or something. He came to the gym and he worked it out through his tissue, through his muscles and his fascia. So his back was stretching and he was screaming. But when he got off that machine, he was a different person. I didn't talk to him. I wanted to go and talk to him, but he was pretty pumped. But you always feel better after you move. What is that?
And it doesn't take a long time, and it doesn't have to be extremely strenuous. It just has to be accurate.
Yeah. So this is a very, very deep conversation, but we just wanted to continue it because of the 5-day event. A lot of people said emotions are coming up for me. This is why.
So many.
Because they've been trapped inside the body. Now you're liberating them, and here's what you have to do. You have to keep training. You have to train and trust that there's a process, and it's beautiful to release those emotions. It's not bad to see them. They were repressed.
Yeah.
If you leave a repressed emotion trapped in the body for too long, it's going to turn into a big problem, physical and or mental. It will cause dis-ease, illness.
Yeah. It
right?
can lead to little subtle addictions. Right? There's a friend of mine who was talking to me about she's in a, I don't want to call it a weight loss program, but let's say that's what it is, like a weight loss program. But it doesn't necessarily focus on diet and exercise. It focuses on the why you make the choices that you make. And we've had so many great conversations about it. And what she's sharing with me, she said, sometimes I feel like I need to apologize because I cry easier now and I get mad easier now and I express it more now because I'm feeling my emotions instead of eating them away. And she said she realized that she would not allow herself to feel the emotion. She was too busy, but you have to do something, right? You have to cope. There has to be a coping mechanism. For some people, it can be a depression. It can be an obsessive tendency. It can be drugs. It can be alcohol. It can be food. It can be an unhealthy relationship. It can just be overworking. It can be anything. It could just be I'm just going to sit around and complain, whatever it is. But now that she's allowing herself to feel her feelings, she realizes how many feelings, like a bottle. She's been walking around with this bottle of feelings. So right now she feels so much because she's feeling it for the first time instead of keeping it in the body. And then that leads to other things.
And it's important to be sensitive and kind to yourself while you're doing body work, qigong, energy work, personal growth work. Years ago, my herbalist, it was the first herbal teacher that I had, Dr. Richard Schultz. And he said, when you're going through a cleanse, like a detox, right, using herbs and juices, he said, you are probably going to have emotions show up. And so take it easy this week. Be gentle, self-care kind of stuff. And I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. But then when you start to cleanse, it's sort of like a pimple. The dirt comes to the surface, the pus, and it's coming out. And you want it to come out because
the body is creating pressure.
Right.
To force the pus out, to force the piece of dirt, the oil out of the skin.
It's
and
a detoxification.
It feels uncomfortable before it comes out, but then it feels so good.
So it's similar to that when we do an energy detox and you're clearing the issues and you're getting the energy flowing and information is coming up and you're noticing stuff. Do your very best just to keep breathing, Breathe in that love, breathe in the light, let it go, let it flow kind of stuff. The best analogy we've been able to give really is the dirty bowl. And let's say it's got like oatmeal was in there and it's been sitting for, I don't know, 3 days. You were so busy or you forgot about it. And you found your bowl and you put it in the sink and you run fresh, clean water into the bowl. You add a little soap or whatever. And at first when you put the water in there, the water looks pristine and clean. But then it starts to dissolve the dirt, right? The oatmeal. And then the water gets murky and dirty. Well, that's sort of a little bit like what negative emotions are as they're coming out. They get murky and dirty and you start to notice them. You're like, oh my God, this isn't working. Things are getting worse. Actually, they're not. They were repressed and they were going to cause illness. Now they're coming out. Keep running the water and allow the cleansing. I want to read you something by Dr. Gabor Mate. This is interesting. He's talking here about how stress can mutate into illness. This is at a biological level that he's talking about this. He's an MD. He says, stress is a complicated cascade of physical and biomechanical processes and responses to powerful emotional stimuli. I'm going to read that again. Stress is a complicated cascade of physical and biochemical responses to powerful emotional stimuli. So if something is emotional, some type of external or internal stimuli, and it causes this stress. Physiological, through the physical body, emotions are themselves electrical, energy. They are chemical and hormonal discharges of the human nervous system. Okay, so your nervous system is responding to that stressor. Emotions influence and are influenced by the functioning of our major organs, the integrity of our immune defense, and the workings of the many circulating biological substances that govern the body's physical states. He goes on to say, when emotions are repressed, this inhibition disarms the body's defense against illness. He's saying it basically shuts down your immune system. Repression, bottling it down, pushing it away, disassociating from those emotions, from their awareness, and relegating them to the unconscious realm, the subconscious in the body and the mind, disorganizes and confuses our physiological defenses, so that in some people, these defenses go so awry, it becomes the destroyer of health. Powerful stuff. You don't want to repress this stuff.
I really want to kind of underline something that we talked about earlier, because it confused me for so long reading all my personal development books in my 20s, the mind, body, mind, spirit, body, brain, spirit. Like I didn't understand, and I don't think very many people do distinguish between the brain and the mind. Also between maybe the organ of the heart and just the energetic heart center to me, which is bigger than the organ. I'm going to tell you a crazy story. The day that I realized that the mind was outside of the body and was not the brain, that the mind is everywhere, you know this story. I woke up. I was tired. It was before we were married. I had to pee. Didn't want to get up and pee because I didn't think I could get back to sleep. And at the time I lived in, let's call it like a Jack and Jill, where I shared a bathroom with the person on the other side of the house. Anyway, so I got up and I started walking to the toilet and I sat down to pee. And I remember thinking these thoughts, like, I really wish I could have just stayed in bed. This is like really inconvenient. I hope I can go back to sleep. And then I looked and the door to my bedroom was there and the bed was right there. And I saw my body in the bed.
She has some wild experiences, guys.
And in that moment, it was like so many things happened at once. I realized, well, first of all, I guess I'm not peeing. Or am I peeing in the bed? Like, it was all that, but it was also like, wow. Oh my gosh, I didn't. My body didn't come with me. And when I thought that, it was like I was face down on the bed, and it's kind of like somebody just pushed me like that in my body. Now, was that a dream? Okay, doesn't really matter because I got so many insights. But it was also, I remember being so grateful to realize we don't escape the mind when the body drops. This was my takeaway at the time.
When you leave the body.
When you leave the body, when you die, when the body dies, you don't lose the mind. And that's why it's so important to upgrade it now. Mm-hmm. To upgrade it now and to become who we want to be now. And to raise that energetic frequency now, to think the thoughts we want to think, to be in that vibration and that flow. And from that experience, I realized that the mind is everywhere in the body, and it's everywhere. And that's what we're working on all the time, and we're using the physical body to upgrade the mind. Does the physical body benefit as far as looking better, feeling better? Absolutely. But to me, I'm always upgrading the mind. The mind is this consciousness, this beautiful part of us.
Bonnie would like to know, did you pee on your body's behalf? Inquiring minds need to know.
Not in the bed.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's some crazy stuff right there. But that's just like if you're dreaming and you go somewhere in your dream. Well, who went there? Your body didn't go to Hawaii. Your body didn't scale that cliff. You did it with your consciousness, right? So the mind is so vast, and the mind affects the body. You know, a lot of times the specialists, they focus on this particular organ or this particular muscle or this particular, type of healing. And you got to look through both lenses. For every thought, there's a corresponding feeling in your body. Mm-hmm. And feelings produce thoughts. When you feel a certain way, you're going to start thinking a certain way.
You just mentioned dream. Yeah. I know we've all done this. Haven't you ever had the dream that you had to pee?
Yeah.
And in the dream, you get up to go to pee? And hopefully you wake up just in time to realize that you're not really sitting on the toilet and that you're in the bed.
Oh, yeah.
So the body's sensation caused you to have this whole dream. I've had dreams where I'm in some like Dodger Stadium and I can't find a bathroom. This whole big plot, all because the body needed to pee.
So what if your body's issues in the tissues are causing certain dreams, they're causing certain thoughts and feelings, and manifestations in your physical body? If that's the case, very sure it is, it would make a lot of sense to move your body on a regular basis and free your fascia. Free my fascia. Free my fascia.
Boom,
so
boom.
If you want to free your fascia on a regular basis and you're not already in the dojo, now's the time. We open the doors twice a year. They're open right now, and they close in a couple of days.
Not only are they open, it is 50% off the registration fee, and there are oodles of bonuses. Oodles of bonuses, depending on which way you decide to participate. We were figuring it out today. It's between $2.18 a day to $3.20 a day.
It's something really low.
Feel and think and be amazing.
We do a lot of work with the fascia. We do a lot of work with moving the energy through those fascial planes once they're open. We do joint mobility, we do meditations, and we do some pretty cool stuff around manifestation with our mapping system back there. So if you want to join us and have some fun this year, it's only January 19th right now. Let's keep rocking. Let's do this together. On that note, it is time for date night. Yeah.
We're going to leave the house.
Sabrina hasn't left the house in a long time. And I've promised to take her out tonight.
I would like to show Elise my skirt.
Okay, go and show Elise your skirt. I can get out of the shot. Elise, this is for you. So pretty. Oh, that's really nice.
Can you see?
Yeah. I love it. Gorgeous.
Christmas.
All right, everyone. Thanks for making some extra time in your schedule to play with us. Love the commentary, and we love you. Have a great date night yourself. See you soon.